Tonight, we report on Grant County's new Superior Court judge, and Soap Lake looks to make repairs on Division Street. What's happening in sports, Bob?
The Moses Lake Rodeo Roundup wrapped up over the weekend, and the Mariners take care of business with the White Sox. Let's take a peek at our Weather Center forecast.
Hello everyone. Today, warm and smoky across the area. We do have a cold front approaching. It'll bring a drop in temperatures into the upper 70s. I'll let you know when just ahead with your extended forecast.
I'm Amber Jinks, and we have all this and much more on iFIBER 1 News.
From the iFIBER 1 HD studio here in the heart of the Columbia Basin, this is iFIBER 1 News. Your #1 source for local news, sports headlines, and our very own Weather Center forecast covering the entire Columbia Basin. This is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
Moses Lake attorney David Estudio is going to be Grant County's next Superior Court judge. Governor Jay Inslee appointed Estudio to replace retiring Judge Evan Spurline. Spurline is ending his more than 30-year-long career as judge at the end of August. Estudio is serving the remaining year of Spurline's term and has to run for election in 2016 to stay in the position. The attorney has operated a law firm in Moses Lake for the past 10 years. He focuses on immigration law and civil litigation. He previously worked for a Seattle-based law firm from 2002 and 2005 and for a Wenatchee-based firm between 1999 and 2002. Estudio is the son of Mexican immigrants who arrived in the United States in the 1960s. He grew up in Sunnyside and received his undergraduate and law degree from the University of Washington. According to the governor's office, he will be the only Latino Superior District or Municipal Court judge serving in all of Eastern Washington. An Ephrata High School student put in 5 hours a day getting his cow ready for the Grant County Fair last week and came away with a grand champion ribbon. Reporter Jeff Chu has the story.
Elliot Amon, one of 4 siblings that show dairy cows at Grant County Fair, won a grand champion ribbon in his class this week after showing Babe, his Holstein. The 15-year-old Ephrata High School student admits he was up against no competition, but says he works long hours to take care and get the cow in shape for the event.
I've won against competition before. I'm not just some cheater.
Elliot, who's been showing cows since he was 5, figures he puts in about 5 hours a day in grooming, feeding, and working with Babe.
At a time, a lot of washing, and we shave them. And with these animals, we don't really have to watch how much they weigh, except unless they get really round and fat. We have to train them to walk, train them to set up correctly on commands for the judge.
Elliot's older brother Colin also won a grand champion ribbon in his class this week, keeping up the Almond family tradition. Here, Elliot is joined Thursday by his brothers Colin and Powell at the Fairgrounds Dairy Cow Barn. I'm Jeff Chu for iFIBER 1 News.
Soap Lake officials are trying to find funding for an estimated $1.2 million project to fix Division Road. Mayor Raymond Gravel and the City Council agreed the section of the road between 7th Avenue and State Route 28 needs new pavement, sidewalks, and lighting. The city plans to apply to the State Transportation Improvement Board for the funding. The proposal includes adding an irrigation system for landscaping and 2 sidewalk bump outs for crosswalks. The city has $100,000 available in its street budget to contribute to the project. A portion of the cost involves replacing the water and sewage pipes. The pipes need to be replaced because they contain asbestos. Big Bend Community College received $1.4 million in federal funding to continue a program to help first-generation, low-income, and disabled students. The funding helps the college continue the TRIO Student Support Service program. The program has helped students pursue degrees for more than 30 years. Big Bend plans to spend about $281,000 a year for the program until 2020. The program's advisors help at-risk students navigate college and complete degree programs, then transition to the next step in their education or career. The program can serve up to 190 students per year. Last spring, 60 students in the program graduated from Big Bend with an associate's degree. Now we take a look at people being sought by law enforcement.
This is Sheriff Tom Jones with the Grant County Sheriff's Office. Each of the people you see here have a warrant for their arrest. If you see any of these people, we ask you do not attempt to detain or apprehend them, but call us at 509-762-1160 or send us an email at crimetips@co.grant.wa.us. If the person is presenting a danger, call 911. With your help, we can bring these people to justice and make our community safer.
We'll be right back after this.
My name is Kat Sanderson, Managing Broker for Pillar Rock Realty Group. We love the Columbia Basin because it's our home, and we want to give back to our community by kicking off our Pay It Forward campaign. If you buy or list with us, we will donate 1% of our total proceeds to a local charity of your choice and in your name. Call us today at 754-4444 or visit pillarrockrealty.com because we are your local real estate experts.
Now for your iFIBER 1 News Weather Center forecast.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Cristina Sanchez with your local weather segment brought to you by Barry Motors, one great place to buy and service a car. We do expect breezy conditions throughout the overnight hours. We're still under an extreme fire danger alert. Red flag warning just to our north and eastern portions of our state. We will continue to have warm conditions across the area with dry weather pattern and also smoky conditions. This is reducing the visibility within our state. Now, continued areas of poor air quality are still in place, unhealthy air quality throughout the next few days within our Columbia Basin. Now, we're looking at low temperatures right at the average low for this time of year in the upper 50s this morning, and today's high right around the lower 90s. Average high temperature for this time of year is in the mid 80s, and the record high temperature for this date, it was set back in 1966, and the record high was 104. Our sunset at 7:54, and for you in Moses Lake, your low temperature this morning right around the average low temperature for this time of year, right around the low to mid 50s, and your high temperature today in the lower 90s. Average high for this time of year is right around the mid 80s, and currently we're right around 90 degrees. We have some cloud cover in place, winds blowing from the southwest up to 10-15 miles an hour throughout the overnight hours. And of course, within our state and for much of the northwest, we're still under an air quality alert due to the smoky conditions that we have. There are still wildfires going on across the state, and we'll continue to stay dry as we go into this Tuesday afternoon. Hazy conditions once again, and there's a slight chance of showers, possibly thunderstorms across the Cascades and just to our west for Wednesday night. But for the most part, we'll continue to stay dry with sunshine throughout Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. In the Yakima, highs right around the lower 90s. Long Beach right around 70 degrees, and Seattle in the upper 70s throughout Tuesday afternoon. Upper 80s across the inland northwest. Plenty of sunshine. However, there's still a lot of smoke that is reducing the visibility within our state. And now for us within our Columbia Basin, our high temperatures slightly above average for this time of year, right around the upper 80s for us here in Ephrata and Moses Lake, in the upper 80s as well, with plenty of sunshine. Dry conditions continue throughout Tuesday and Wednesday. We still have areas of smoke, and for the beginning of the next work week, and the weekend I should say, we'll have a slight chance of showers coming up as a cold front moves in, dropping those temperatures, and it'll increase the chance for showers, thankfully. However, right now that chance for showers looks pretty low, but high temperatures for now will continue to be above normal for this time of year, right around the low 90s, and will drop right around the upper 70s as we end this weekend for Saturday in the upper 70s with lows in the upper 50s. Thank you for being with us. We'll be back with sports.
To save some energy, I've used Einstein's mass energy equivalents to design the haptic suits you see in front of you. They will maintain our core body temperature while we completely turn off our heat and air conditioning. With the money we save on our Grant PD bill, I'll be expecting that trip to Disneyland this year.
You don't need to be a super genius to save energy and money. Visit grantpud.org to learn how.
The Moses Lake Rodeo Roundup wrapped up Saturday. The finale was rather anticlimactic as the majority of top cowpokes had moved on to other stops on the circuit. That gave the livestock the upper hand, and it was evident in the first competition of the evening as team ropers had trouble lassoing their prey. Barrel racers had difficulty navigating the course, with many making wrong turns on their approach and knocking over barriers to boot. There were only a couple of saddle bronc and bull rides as well, and again the animals won the battle. The all-round cowboy award and 1,500 hard-earned greenbacks went to Morgan Grant from Granton, Ontario. Zeb Lantham from Sweet, Idaho was the top bull rider. Tyrell Smith from Cascade, Montana, and Tyrell Larson from Manitoba tied for first in the saddle bronc competition. Well, the Mariners avoided a 3-game sweep with an 8-6 victory over the Chicago White Sox. Seattle scored 4 runs in the 3rd inning with an RBI single by Jesus Sucre and a 2-run double off the bat of Nelson Cruz. With a 4-1 lead, the M's continued to mash in the 5th. Austin Jackson scored Ketel Marte with an RBI single, then Robinson Cano launched a 2-run shot over the right field wall, making it 7-1. It was Cano's 14th homer of the season. Taijuan Walker recorded the win for Seattle, going 5 2/3 innings, giving up 5 earned runs with 4 strikeouts. The bartender, Tom Wilhelmsen, picked up his 3rd save of the season with an easy 1-2-3 inning. The Mariners open a 3-game series with Oakland tonight at Safeco Field. Hisashi Iwakuma is looking for his 4th win in as many games. IndyCar driver Justin Wilson was airlifted to a nearby hospital after a serious crash at Pocono in the ABC Supply 500 Sunday. Fellow driver Sage Karam spun into a wall with 21 laps to go, and debris from the front end of his car made impact with Wilson's head. Wilson veered off the track immediately and sustained a head-on collision with the wall. He was taken to Lehigh Valley Health Network Cedar Crest Hospital, where he remains in critical condition. Karam was shaken up but sustained no major injuries in the wreck. Ryan Hunter Ray won the race.
There's the nose section there.
We'll be back after this break.
For 12 years, E-Freitas hosted the best free music festival in Washington. This year was no exception with performers like Austin Jenks. And you're going to meet him and other headliners like Greg Raleigh, founding member of Santana and Journey. Welcome to iFIBER 1's Inside Look at Basin Summer Sounds.
She says she talks to angels. They call her out by her name.
Our spotlight story tonight is about several Grant County residents who raised money to bring active military members to the Grant County Fair. Reporter Cameron Probert has the story.
Dennis Clay and other Grant County residents brought members of the U.S. Air Force to enjoy the Grant County Fair. Clay started working on bringing servicemen and women to the fair last year when they brought 2 families to the fair.
We only planned it a week ahead of time. That's why there was only 2 families. This year we started about a month ago, and we had a bus planned to come, and then not as many people showed up. So one lady called and said, "Can I come down in our vehicle?" So they're bringing 4. There's 4 people coming, and they wanted to come in the vehicle because they have to leave before 6 o'clock.
Clay and Jim Turner were waiting for the family from Fairchild Air Force Base to arrive at the fair on Saturday. To help pay for the trip and to give the airmen and airwomen some money to spend during the fair, Clay and others raised roughly $1,300 to pay for the visit.
Some of the money we have left over, we're going to save it for next year or buy some equipment for the airmen up there at Fairchild. Now, so we're going to get them into the fair and then give them some money for a space burger too. So we've got to have a space burger. Oh yeah.
Larry Godin with Millionaire offered to have a bus available to bring airmen and airwomen from the Spokane base to the fair. They didn't have enough people sign up to need a bus, but Clay hopes they will in future years.
So we'll take any airman. If one came, we'd be tickled to have them down here. So it's just a nice offering to get the airmen away from the base for the day and see what Grant County. Last year, a lady came that had never been to an airman came that had never been to a fair, and she said she'd never seen a cow up close. Seen them in the field, but not up close. The other family brought a 2-year-old, and he enjoyed the day and was crying when he realized he was going to leave at 6 o'clock.
Turner was one of the people who responded to Clay asking for sponsors.
I remember when Dennis was on the radio looking for sponsors, I couldn't dial my phone fast enough. You know, and it doesn't take very much money to help. And these military families, you know, they're fulfilling a need for our safety, and I don't know if enough of us fully appreciate that.
Both men said the activity reminds them of stories of when Larson Air Force Base was opened in Moses Lake. They said Grant County families would often help people serving at the base.
And then you could take an airman to home for a barbecue or take him to church and stuff like that. And we miss that, being able to say hi to him.
For iFIBER 1 News, this is Cameron Probert reporting.
We'll be right back after this.
Quincy Foods, LLC, a subsidiary of Norpac Foods, is seeking motivated individuals to fill the positions of general laborer for their corn harvest season. They have full-time seasonal openings, must be 18 years old and older, willing to work swing shift. Great people to work for in a challenging food processing environment. Apply at 222 Columbia Way in Quincy between 8 and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, or online through WorkSource. Quincy Foods is an equal opportunity employer.
Welcome back. False alarms may cost Soap Lake residents and business owners up to $500. Soap Lake City Council approved an ordinance to charge property owners for false alarms requiring police or fire responses. Property owners won't face a fine for the first false alarm, but the ordinance allows the city to fine owners $150 for the second police or fire response within 3 months. A $500 fine would be charged for a third response within 3 months. Soap Lake Director of Public Safety Glenn Quant said 56 false alarms were recorded last year and 40 false alarms were recorded in 2015. Most of the false alarms come from the same locations. The director was concerned about the resources used and money spent responding to the false alarms. A 16-year-old girl allegedly threatened to stab a woman while they were stopped at a traffic light in Moses Lake. The suspect and victim were at Grant County District Court on East Wheeler Road and reportedly left in separate vehicles. The truck the suspect was riding in reportedly stopped near the victim's vehicle at a red light on South Pioneer Way. The teen allegedly got out of the truck, approached the victim, and began to yell at her. The victim reportedly threw a water bottle at the suspect but missed. The driver of the truck reportedly pulled forward and struck the victim's vehicle. The victim got out of her vehicle and began yelling at the other driver when the suspect allegedly approached the victim with a knife and threatened her. The victim got back in her vehicle and left. Police contacted her later. The suspect was not located. The lawns at Soap Lake City Hall, the senior center, and library may be replaced with landscaping requiring a little water and maintenance. The proposal came up during a discussion of the city's 6-year capital facilities plan at recent city council meeting. A public hearing on the plan is scheduled for September 16th council meeting. Mayor Raymond Gravel said the city could save between $4,000 and $5,000 a year on maintenance by removing lawns around public buildings and replacing them with drought-resistant landscaping such as rocks and sage. Gravel estimated it would cost $3,500 for the city to change the landscaping. The council members agreed with the idea. In Northwest news, the multiple wildfires burning in eastern Washington, firefighters need all the help they can get. Officials are now asking that qualified volunteers, not just professional firefighters, come and help. For CNN, Stephanie Elam has a story from Chelan.
This is how firefighters are using one of their greatest resources to fight the fires here in Washington State. That right there is a helicopter that's dropping its hose into the lake here, Lake Chelan, and will pull up thousands of gallons of water in just a matter of seconds, and then take that water straight to the fire line to aid those firefighters who are battling the burning edges of these fires. And there's multiple fires burning in Washington State. In fact, there's 16 of them that have consumed some 20,000 acres, and we know that there's more than 500,000 acres that are still burning at this point in central and eastern Washington. We know that more than 200 homes have been lost to these blazes, and another 12,000 structures. Many of those homes are also threatened, and this is why it's so important for them to fight these fires from the sky. As you can see there, he's tanked up, he's closing off the tank, and he'll take back off to the fire line. But just to show you just how bad these fires can be, and the reason why they've asked for so many resources from the Washington National Guard. We know 700 personnel have made their way in. We also know another 200 being trained, and they're also asking for civilians to help. This is why. Take a look at this. This is from the First Creek fire. Look at the devastation that this wildfire did to these lakefront homes. Absolutely stunning property and a stunning location here. The fire came through here and not just taking out their homes, but also taking out their piers, their docks, even taking out their boats. You can look at these two boats here in the water, and you can see how they were just completely lost, a complete loss to these wildfires here. And with the winds constantly being an issue, it's going to be hot this week as well, and there's still plenty of hot spots burning up in the mountains above this. There is concern that the fires could change, the wind can change, and those homes that are still safe along this lake could be in danger again. And it's not just here, there's other parts of Washington State where they're watching the winds as well. So with all of this danger, they're trying to keep this from happening anywhere else, but it's still a very precarious situation. In the middle of Lake Chelan in Washington State, I'm Stephanie Elam.
That's going to do it for us here at iFiber One News. We want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Welcome back. Moses Lake native James Sauceda is Big Bend Community College's new STEM director. His new role is lead administrator of the college's $4.4 million federal STEM grant. The money is to help the college increase student enrollment and transfer to universities to study science, technology, engineering, and math. Sauceda graduated from Big Bend in 2004 with a transfer degree, allowing him to enroll at Washington State University. He graduated with a bachelor's in mechanical engineering in 2009. He is working to earn his master's degree in mechanical engineering later this year. Big Bend President Terry Lees stated that James' story is an example of what they hope to achieve with the STEM grant. He's a local high school graduate who earned his degree and returned to the area. About 600 fruits and vegetables were entered at an exhibit at the Grant County Fair this year. Reporter Jeff Chu spoke with Master Gardener Trudy Walsh to see how the produce is judged.
The heat and smoke from wildfires this summer reduced the number of tomatoes entered in the Grant County Fair fruit and vegetable exhibit. So says Master Gardener Trudy Walsh, who is co-superintendent of the fair's agriculture building with Master Gardener Karen Fowler. Walsh says growing conditions made it difficult for blossoms to set on the tomato plants. Despite the gardening issue, about 600 fruit and vegetables were entered at the exhibit. Walsh said vegetable and fruit gardening is getting more popular.
Absolutely, and composting and the whole buying local and knowing where your food comes from. And one of the things I'm a big proponent of, and I go around and I've gone to schools and things teaching, is container gardening. So even if you're living in an apartment, you should be able to grow your own vegetables, grow your own fruits, and compost.
Some of the more unusual homegrown entries included a long trombone squash, purple tomatillos, purple cherry tomatoes, 3 massive onions, and a pumpkin that ripened to orange a month early. Kids also had fun with what they grew. I'm Jeff Chu for iFiber One News.
Prosecutors dropped felony charges against an 80-year-old Wilson Creek man for taking his ex-wife out of a nursing care facility on Christmas. Deputy Prosecutor Ed Owens asked Grant County Superior Court Judge John Antos to dismiss charges of unlawful imprisonment and reckless endangerment against Philip Pearson. The case was being moved to Grant County District Court, and Pearson faces 1 count of custodial interference. The charge is a gross misdemeanor, and Pearson can face up to 1 year in jail.
Pearson reportedly took his ex-wife out of the McKay Healthcare and Rehabilitation Center and drove the 77-year-old woman to his home in Wilson Creek. She was in the facility to receive end-of-life care and was unable to make decisions. The tactical response team entered the home to arrest Pearson and rescue the woman. In Northwest news, 3 firefighters are dead as raging wildfires continue to grow in central Washington and more residents are being forced to evacuate. Cairo's Natasha Chen has the story.
It's hard for firefighters to continue stamping out these flames, knowing 3 of their own died doing the same thing.
It hurts, it tears you apart, but at the same time, we want to do what they would want, and that would be to finish the job.
The worst is the fire. I don't want anybody to burn.
I told evacuees leaving Twisp and Winthrop who hadn't heard yet about the loss of 3 Forest Service firefighters.
Oh, geez, no.
The fire is one thing, but the loss of life is the worst case scenario.
You can always rebuild a home, but you can't rebuild a life.
Right.
Alan and Christine Bisnet looked out their backyard and saw this smoke coming. They soon got a visit from the sheriff telling them to evacuate. They had just enough time to grab their dogs and the lasagna Christine just finished cooking in the oven.
I didn't know it was going to be that quick. The last time we had time to prepare.
Everyone we talked to mentioned a last time because they've all been through this before.
People lose things.
Deanne Barry hadn't even unpacked the suitcase she had during last year's Carlton Complex fire.
This is one of my favorite of my girls.
She has photos, her Nana's Bible, and the hope that they'll all still have a home to come back to.
That's going to do it for us here at iFiber One News. We want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow.